it's Michelle. Welcome to season 2 of 6 Things More or Less. Today I have a very special guest with me.
Hey, how are ya?
This is my dear friend Margie Schiller, who is here from New Jersey. She's a fellow Milwaukeeite. We met in college at Marquette University, and thank you for being here today, Margie.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Michelle.
What are you going to make today?
I'm making one of my basics, a roast chicken with root vegetables.
I think people think of roast chicken as something that takes forever, that it's really complicated, that you have to tie it up with string and all sorts of crazy stuff like that.
Well, if that's your mission in life, you can make it as difficult as you want to make it. But it doesn't have to be difficult. It can really be easy.
Great. Let's get to it.
Okay, here's a bounty of vegetables that you've collected, Michelle.
So I got these from Imperfect Produce. This was my delivery this week. So we're making roast chicken, and our 6 things that we're going to use today are a chicken, which I don't have out here because truly there's very little in life that is uglier than an uncooked chicken. So we're going to bring that out at the end and put it in the oven. Carrots, parsnips, leeks, garlic, and lemons. We're going to also use some herbs,
Whatever you have in the house.
parsley and thyme, and then of course olive oil, salt, pepper. And I may actually coax Margie to use a little bit of butter.
There's no coaxing required for butter. What I like about your imperfect vegetables that came is that they're kind of slim. This is going to make a great presentation. They'll caramelize, they'll cook through, and we don't have to chop them in half. Now, if you have a larger carrot, as most of us do who don't have such sexy California produce, you would slice them to about this size. So they're perfect, just the way, these imperfect vegetables are really perfect.
So I'm going to do the parsnips and you do the carrots.
I'll
How's
do the
that?
carrots. I belong to a community-supported agriculture.
What's a community-supported agriculture?
It is a collective of people that come together and underwrite the cost of farming vegetables. And mine is an organic farm in New Jersey called the Community Supported Garden at Genesis Farm. But they're all over the country. And so you pay your fee, and then you go on your designated days, whether it's once a week or once every other week, and you pick up whatever's in season, whatever's fresh, whatever the harvest is. Sometimes it's things that everybody knows about, like carrots and onions and potatoes, and sometimes you get these funky vegetables like celery root or salsify or parsnips. I never cooked a parsnip before I joined. Depending on what the yield or the harvest is, sometimes you hit the jackpot of tomatoes and you're canning tomatoes all summer and you can't stand the idea of a tomato by October. Or sometimes if there's a bad drought year, you end up with 6 tomatoes all year. And you really covet those BLTs when you have them.
I love this idea of becoming part of a farm. So how do I find a farm like the one that you have in my community?
Well, I would suggest going to localharvest.org, and you can type in your zip code and it will direct you to one of the many CSAs across the country.
In the meantime, if any of you know of any other way to reach community farmers, or if you have a community farm, just leave a comment below. So we're scraping these vegetables as opposed to peeling them. I don't like to peel vegetables anymore. I find that it wastes a lot of valuable food. Never, never, never waste food. So the next thing we're going to do is leeks.
They are delicious and they're worth just a little bit of extra work. It's a little confusing because they're huge and there's all this green stuff that would normally be wasted. But we know Michelle is going to stick them in the freezer bag and they'll be used. So up to where it starts getting really dark and green, just chop that off. We're going to take the leek and slice it halfway down up to this hairy head. This keeps it all together while we're working with it so the leek doesn't fall apart. Now you see we can peel through the layers and see all that gunky sand and dirt. So here we have a completely rinsed leek. It still has its form. Now it's time to chop off their head and I will cut them in half. You know, a leek is a member of the onion family. And I prefer Leeks for this recipe. They're milder, they're prettier in the pan, especially when you are using carrots and parsnips because they're about the same size.
So we have all of our vegetables sliced, and
We'll dress all the vegetables in a nice bath of olive oil, salt and pepper, and thyme.
an olive oil bath.
What do you think that is? That's probably 3 or 4 tablespoons. A nice grinding of pepper.
So are we doing a pinch, a couple pinches, what?
To taste. If you're watching your sodium, then you go maybe a little bit smaller. Now, do you know how to quickly pull herbs off the stem?
I would just stick the whole stem in there because I'm super lazy.
Ah, that's a good idea. And you know what? That's not waste either.
Exactly.
And you are getting a lot of flavor from the stem. Go like that. Just use your nails and pull and just scrape it right off the stem. Let's save some of the time for the chicken. You want this thoroughly coated. So it's time to get your hands in there and move it around and make sure everything's evenly coated. If it's coated with the olive oil, then it gets caramelized, because then all these vegetables are no longer vegetables, they are candy.
Here is a chicken.
Would you look at that clean little chicken? I dress mine right on top of the vegetables, so there you go. All right. So Michele chose a beautiful young chicken here that's a real chicken. It's not chicken pumped with a lot of chemicals and water to make it look plump and fat, and that will all cook out anyway, and then you're like, what happened to the chicken I put in the oven?
No hormones, all natural, grown on a small farm. Mm-hmm. I like all that kind of stuff.
So I'm gonna apply some olive oil and I'm gonna massage it in a minute. The pepper, salt,
That's my job.
and then thyme. Make sure it's all covered. And if you want to make it really brown, I would even throw some tablespoons of butter, because everything's better with butter.
Looks like about a tablespoon.
Yeah, all right. And then butter.
Nice. This could be so good.
Oh.
So what temperature do we need to put the oven at?
I roast it at a very high temperature, say 400, 425, for about a half an hour. It helps the skin crust up.
Oh, great. Okay.
Then I reduce it to about 350 so it doesn't dry out. The last flavor component is the lemon and the garlic. We're going to slice off the top. Strip not all of the papery skin. When you roast garlic, it is not pungent. It becomes super sweet and soft like spreadable butter. I stick it in a corner and I drizzle it with olive oil.
I cleaned my oven just for you today.
So here we go. 425 for, let's say, 20 minutes.
Okay. Ooh, look at that.
And you can tell that Michele bought an organic chicken. As I'm basting it here, I see that there's not a lot of fat. And that's not a bad thing. Just hit it with some more olive oil. And it's time to put her back in the oven, but this time we're going to lower the temperature to 350. Now it's going to be more of a slow, juicy roast. And when I put the chicken in, each time I baste, I rotate it.
Oh my goodness, that looks so good.
It's starting to brown. Yeah, so you just tip your pan a little bit and it comes running to the side and you hit the chicken, get it all juicy and coated. We cut some lemons while the chicken was roasting. We're gonna stick them cut side down on the pan so they brown. When you stick it face down, it's gonna roast in all that beautiful brown chicken fat. It's gonna be so good. All right.
It looks amazing. All right.
So I'm gonna put it back in the oven. We're gonna finish this up.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
Look at that, guys. Doesn't that look fabulous?
Oh my gosh, amazing job. Okay, so in order to see if it's done, a lot of people would use a meat thermometer, and it should register what?
165.
Okay, so 165 on a meat thermometer means your chicken is done. That's the minimal temperature that a chicken should be. Of course, in my usual fashion, I don't have a meat thermometer. So I think what I'm going to do is do it the old-fashioned way, and I'm just going to cut into the side of the leg here, and if the juices run clear, meaning there's no blood in it, then the chicken's done. Juices are clear.
The juices are clear.
See?
Look at that! And
Wow.
now you really get to see the chicken in all its glory. Just scoop up the veggies and place them around.
Okay. Look at those leeks.
I know they're so soft and roasted and sweet.
I don't know that I've ever seen a roasted lemon before.
We're just gonna tent it and let it rest for a bit.
Oh, look at that!
Look at that.
Oh, that's so fun!
So that's getting all this roasted lemon juice all over your chicken and vegetables. And you'll taste the lemon
Oh, I love
on your
this.
palate much quicker than if we had just crammed all these lemons into the chicken. There's this beautiful roasted garlic. It's whole. We could crush it over the roast chicken. You could squeeze them and it turns into like this buttery pasty thing. Or you
Like
can
that.
just put them around, but they're like butter. They're real, real sweet when they're roasted.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
And then, you know, a little bit of parsley.
This is a perfect 6 things family meal. And speaking of family, there's the family that you are given, and then there's the family that you find and choose. And Margie Schiller is one of that family for me. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I
Old
had such a
friends.
good time.
It was so great to have you. All right.
Let's eat.
Thanks for watching this episode of 6 Things More or Less. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. Hit the notification bell to be notified of future episodes. And if you're ready to watch another episode, click the video. And never, never, never waste food.